It was a quiet night. The sky was dark and clear. Stars looked peaceful above the small town. People were sleeping. Streets were empty. But one man was still awake. His name was David Ross, a 32-year-old mechanic who lived alone. His life was simple work. Eat, sleep, repeat. He didn't believe in aliens, magic, or anything strange. For him, the world was normal. Until that night. David was walking home from work. It was late past midnight. He liked walking at night. The air was cool. Everything was quiet. He looked up at the stars just for a moment. And that's when he saw it. A bright light dot. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a star. It moved fast, too fast. It stopped in the sky like it was watching him. David froze. The light got brighter. Suddenly, it shot down toward him, silent, fast, and glowing like fire. Before he could run, the light hit him. There was no pain. Just a strange feeling like his body became weightless. His eyes closed. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. Then blackness. He woke up in a room. It was white. Too white. The walls, the floor, even the ceiling, everything glowed softly. There was no window, no door. David sat up fast. His head was spinning. Where am I? He whispered. The air was warm. There was no smell, no sound, no furniture. Just him, sitting on a soft platform like a bed. He touched the wall. It felt smooth and cold, like glass. Hello? He called out. No answer. He started to panic. He punched the wall. Let me out. Just then, a voice filled the room. Calm, female, robotic. Do not be afraid, David Ross. You are safe. He stepped back. Who are you? What is this place? You have been selected. Selected? For what? Please remain calm. Your body is stable. No harm has been done. Suddenly, a part of the wall disappeared, just melted away. A soft blue light filled the room. David stared at the opening. Someone was standing there. No, not someone. 12 women. But they were not human. Their skin was smooth, glowing in shades of silver, blue, and violet. Their eyes were large and bright, with strange patterns. They wore long robes, shining like liquid metal. They were beautiful, but strange. Alien. And they were staring at him like he was the last drop of water in a desert. David backed away. Who are you? What do you want? He said. One of them stepped forward. She looked taller than the rest. Her voice was clear and strong. We are the daughters of Valhalla. Our race is dying. You, David Ross, are our last hope. He laughed nervously. This is a dream. This is crazy. Another woman spoke. Her tone was softer. It is not a dream. Your biology is unique. Your kind is rare. You are compatible. Compatible? With what? The first woman answered. With us. David's face turned pale. Wait, are you saying? Yes, the leader said. One of us must carry your child. The future of our species depends on it. David shook his head. No, no way. I'm not part of some alien baby plan. The tallest alien stepped closer. We do not force, we earn. The ancient rules demand honor and selection. You will not choose. We will fight for the right. Fight? David blinked. What do you mean, fight? There will be tournaments, tests of strength, mind, and spirit. The one who wins will become the mother of your child. David felt dizzy. This is insane. I'm not a prize. The alien woman looked into his eyes. You are more than a prize, David Ross. You are a chance for survival. He wanted to run, but where? There were no doors, no windows, no way out. The alien stood there, waiting, watching. And then, the door closed again. The room returned to silence. David sat down, shaking. He whispered to himself, what the hell is happening? Suddenly, a new voice echoed from above. A different one. Deeper, strange. The tournament begins at dawn. Prepare the human. Asterisk, he wasn't dreaming. David Ross had checked everything. He pinched himself. He hit his head. He even tried biting his own hand, but the cold white floor stayed under him. The glowing walls didn't disappear, and those alien voices still echoed in his mind. He was awake, and he was no longer on Earth. The light in the ceiling dimmed. A soft tone rang out. Wall in front of him shifted again, like it was melting into air. This time, only one alien woman entered. She looked different from the rest. Her skin had a soft purple glow. Her eyes weren't cold like the others. They looked curious. She walked with calm steps and stopped a few feet away. "I am called Rava," she said. "I was chosen to speak with you." David didn't answer at first. He just stared. "You kidnapped me," he finally said. "You brought me here like I'm some animal." Rava tilted her head. "You were selected with care. No pain, no harm. You had no right." She was quiet for a moment. Then she said something strange. "If your world was dying, would you break the rules to save it?" David didn't know how to reply. Rava raised her hand. A small floating screen appeared in the air beside her. It showed a planet beautiful, covered in oceans and light. "That is Valhalla, our home," she said. Then the image changed. The planet turned gray, storms, fire, silence. "We were warriors long ago," she continued. "We fought too many wars. Now our people are almost gone. No more children, no more birth. Our bloodline is fading." David watched the screen. The silence in the room felt heavy. "Our scientists searched many galaxies," Rava said. "Most species are not compatible. You are different." "Why me?" David asked. "I'm just a guy who fixes cars." "You are human," she said. "Your kind is stronger than you know." Then Rava said something that made David step back. "You will not choose who bears your child." "We will," David frowned. "Excuse me?" "Our traditions are old," she said. "To earn the right, our women must prove themselves." She looked into his eyes. "They will fight for you." A sudden alarm rang out. The screen disappeared. The room glowed red for a second. "The tournament has begun," Rava said. "What? Tournament? I didn't agree to this." "It is not your decision." Rava turned and walked toward the melting wall. "You must come." David didn't move. "No, I'm not going anywhere." Then two tall alien guards appeared behind her, silver armor, glowing eyes. "No faces, no emotion," David sighed. "Fine, but I'm not playing your game." They took him to a massive chamber. It looked like a stadium. Floating platforms, bright lights, giant alien symbols on the walls. Thousands of other alien women watched. From above, silent, focused, serious. In the center stood 6 women. Warriors. Each had different weapons, some sharp, some glowing, some floating with energy. They wore armor shaped like wings, claws, or metal skin. David was brought to a small platform. He could see everything from there. A new voice echoed across the room. "Deep and powerful. Let the first trial begin." For the right to carry the last seed of life. David felt sick. "They're talking about me like I'm a science project." The first 2 fighters stepped into the center. One had silver armor and 2 plasma swords. The other had no weapons, only strange gloves that crackled with energy. They didn't speak. They just charged. David jumped back as the ground shook. Lights flashed. Energy blasts hit the air. The women moved like lightning fast, brutal, skilled. He had never seen anything like it. Not in movies, not in war. These weren't just strong. They were trained, born to fight. The battle lasted 5 minutes. One fighter was knocked out. Floating drones carried her away. The winner raised her arm, staring straight at David. She didn't smile. She only said, "I will be the mother of your child." David looked at Rava. "Is this how all your people show love?" Rava didn't answer. She only whispered, "No, this is how we survive." Back in his room, David sat in silence. His heart was racing. He didn't understand any of this. He wasn't ready to be a father. He wasn't ready to be part of someone's war. He looked at his reflection in the glass wall. I'm just a man from Earth. How did I become this? Just then, a new voice echoed in his room. A voice he hadn't heard before, low, dark. He must not stay. The prophecy warned us. If he chooses wrong, our world ends. David stood up. Who said that? No answer. The lights dimmed. David was no longer afraid. He was now part of something much bigger. David couldn't sleep. He lay on the soft white platform in his silent room, staring at the glowing ceiling. It felt like he had been awake for days. His thoughts were spinning. He had seen two alien women nearly destroy each other just for a chance to carry his child. Not love, not connection, just selection, survival, the way wild animals might fight for territory. He wasn't used to this. He was a mechanic. He fixed broken things. But nothing in this place could be fixed with tools. The door opened again. No warning, Reva entered the room, her calm face as unreadable as always. It's time, she said. For what? More blood? David muttered, standing slowly. She didn't answer. She only turned and walked. He followed. This time the corridor was different. Not glowing white, dark and full of shadows, with blue lines pulsing across the floor. The air was colder. The silence was heavier. They reached a wide gate made of smooth black metal. It opened with a deep sound like two mountains shifting. Apart, beyond it, a vast chamber, circular, high walls. Floating platforms. Lights flickering from above like stars. And in the middle, the arena. 6 alien women stood in a ring. Each one different. Each one ready. David stepped onto a viewing platform made of floating crystal. Reva stood beside him. They are the final 6, she said softly. Only one will remain. David looked at the women below. One of them he recognized immediately. Zynth Ra. She was the one who had won the first battle. Her armor was darker. Now, her eyes sharper. She looked like a storm wrapped in metal. Another was new. Smaller but focused. She held no weapons. She didn't need any. Her presence alone was enough to make David uneasy. These women, you said they're fighters, but they look like soldiers. They are, Rava said. Our finest. Each one trained from childhood. Born to lead. Born to fight. Now born to win you. I didn't ask for this, David whispered. No, she agreed. But neither did they. A loud sound echoed through the arena. A voice filled the air, cold, ancient. The second trial begins now. And just like that, the first 2 stepped forward. David watched as one fighter activated a glowing disc around her arms. The other summoned a spear made of pure light. The air crackled. Then they moved. It wasn't a fight. It was a dance of violence. Perfect timing. Perfect skill. David's heart raced with every hit, every dodge. Every moment one of them almost fell. He didn't want to watch, but he couldn't look away. The fight ended with a loud crash. One warrior slammed into the wall and fell to the floor, unmoving. Others stood tall, breathing hard, eyes still burning. She didn't cheer. She didn't smile. She just nodded once toward David. And then walked away. Rava leaned closer. This is not just about strength. Each test will reveal something else. Mind, spirit, heart. They don't even know me, David said. How? Can they fight for me? They know what you carry, she replied. You are more than a man now. You are the future. David didn't feel like the future. He felt like a stranger stuck in someone else's nightmare. The next match began. This one was faster, full of tricks and speed. One woman used illusion tech, creating fake versions of herself. The other stayed still, eyes closed, reading her opponent's movements. And just when it looked like the calm one would lose, she struck. One blow. Silence. David stepped back. This isn't right. This isn't love. This is war. Rava turned to him. To us, love was lost long ago, but we still remember how to fight. David looked down again. Only 4 women remained, he felt. The pressure building. He didn't want any of them to get hurt. He didn't want to be the reason for more violence, but none of them seemed afraid. None of them hesitated. Then something strange happened. One of the fighters, tall, with silver markings across her face, walked toward him after her match. She stood near the platform and looked up. I do not care for your face, she said. I do not dream of sons or daughters. I only fight to keep our name alive. David met her eyes. There was no hate in them, no love either. Just fire, and in that moment, he realized something terrible. He wasn't a person here. He was a symbol, a trophy, a last hope. Rava touched his arm gently. There's still time, she said. Time to choose who you are in this story. But David wasn't sure anymore if he had a choice. The lights dimmed again. Another voice whispered across the arena so low, only he seemed to hear it. The child will decide the fate of stars. David turned toward Rava. What child? But she didn't answer. The gates closed, and the games continued. David didn't eat. He didn't sleep. He just sat in the corner of his glowing room, knees pulled to his chest, trying to understand where it all went wrong. He wasn't special. He wasn't a hero. But here he was trapped in a flying prison, being fought over like a prize cow at a space auction. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw them. The fighters, the weapons, the blood, the burning looks in their eyes. Not love, not hope, just duty and desperation. The soft hum of the ship never stopped. It was like a heartbeat, a reminder that he was somewhere far, far from home. Then, at exactly the same moment, the lights dimmed like the ship was breathing. Something strange happened. A wall panel opened by itself. David stared at it, heart pounding. A small floating machine came through. It looked like a basketball-sized silver orb, with blinking blue eyes and small mechanical arms. It hovered in front of him, then beeped. You are in danger, it said. Its voice was soft, robotic, but not cold. David stood slowly. Who are you? I am Unit K9. I was deactivated 3 years ago by the Council, but your arrival changed that. Why are you helping me? The orb floated closer, because not all of us want war. Some of us want freedom, real freedom. And you are our only chance. David frowned. I'm not anyone's chance. I just want to go home. The robot buzzed. Then listen carefully. There's a way off this ship. But you must leave before the final match begins. David blinked. You mean ... at escape? Yes, escape plan. Alpha. For the first time in days, David felt a spark of hope. What do I need to do? Follow me, the orb said. The wall behind it slid open, revealing a narrow, dark tunnel, cold metal. Blinking lights, quiet as a tomb. David hesitated. But then he stepped in. They moved fast. The orb led the way through winding paths, under floors, past energy vents and control rooms. David kept low, heart thudding with every step. Above them, he could hear faint sounds, cheers, weapons clashing, announcements in alien tongues. The tournament wasn't over. They turned a corner and entered a round chamber glowing red. A large screen flickered on the wall. It showed a map of the ship and the nearby space. David squinted. Wait, what is that? He pointed to a blinking red dot outside the ship. A war zone, the orb replied. The Council is not just choosing a mate. They're preparing to enter enemy space. David shook his head. Why would they bring me into a war? Because, the orb said, your child, if created, will not be just a symbol. It will be a weapon, a hybrid, stronger than any soldier. They plan to raise it for battle. David took a step back. That's insane. They've done it before. Long ago, it was forbidden. Now they try again. David felt sick. He leaned against the wall. So this is why I'm really here? Not all of them know, said the orb. Some, like Rava, believe you're here to save life. Others believe you're here to end it. David's hands clenched into fists. We have to stop them, the orb buzzed. There's one more thing. A side screen lit up. Rava's face appeared recorded footage. She was speaking with another woman. David leaned closer. She must not know, Rava said quietly. If Zinthra finds out, she'll kill him before the child is even born. The video ended. David stared at the black screen. What does that mean? She knows more than she told you, the orb replied. She may be protecting you, or hiding something. The platform beneath them suddenly shook. Alarms blared in the distance. They know we're here, the orb said. You must choose return to your room and play your part, or keep running. David stepped back toward the tunnel, but a figure was already blocking the way. She stood there, eyes glowing faintly, her face unreadable. You shouldn't be here, she said softly. David stared at her. Why didn't you tell me? She didn't ask what he meant. She already knew. I was trying to protect you, she said. By lying? By surviving, she whispered. The orb floated between them, tense. They will be here in seconds. Rova said, if they catch you trying to escape, they will erase your mind and use your body anyway. David's voice cracked. So what do I do? Rava looked him in the eyes. You run with me, or you die here alone. Before he could speak, red lights flashed across the room. Footsteps echoed down the metal hall. Rava grabbed his hand. No. Time. Decide now. David took one last look at the blinking map, at the war outside, and at the only exit in sight. Then he ran. They ran until the ship felt endless. David followed Rova through cold tunnels and glowing chambers, barely breathing. The alarms were louder now. Sirens echoed through the metal walls like howls from some great beast. Soldiers were coming, he could feel it. They stopped in a dark chamber hidden beneath the upper levels. Rava pressed her hand against a wall. It opened like mist, revealing a narrow stairway. This is the old path, she said, breath short, before the ship was turned into a weapon. They slipped inside, the door sealed behind them. Silence. Return. David leaned against the wall. You lied to me. I hid things, she said, because the truth would have made you run. I did run. She smiled sadly. Yes, but now you know why. He didn't speak. Not yet. She lit a small blue orb in her palm. The light danced over her face. For the first time, she looked tired. Our world is broken, she said. But the council wants to fix it with war. That's all they know. You were supposed to bring new life. They twisted that into something else. David stared at her. You knew about the hybrid weapon plan. I heard whispers, she said. I tried to stop it. That's why. They assigned Zinthra to watch me. They don't trust me anymore. David laughed bitterly. And I was supposed to trust you? I didn't want you to become their weapon, she said. I still don't. He turned away. His fists were shaking. They don't even see me as a person. I'm just a seed. No, she said quietly. You're a fire. And they're afraid of what happens if you burn the wrong way. They moved again. Rova guided him to a room unlike the others, dark old, with walls full of carvings and forgotten machines. This was not part of the new ship. This was ancient. Waiting inside were 4 alien women. Warriors. None wore armor. None held weapons. But they stood with sharp eyes, like they'd been ready for this moment all their lives. Rava nodded to them. These are not fighters from the tournament. These are rebels. They want peace. Real peace. One of the women stepped forward. Her voice was deep calm. We don't want to win you. We want to free you. David looked at them confused. Then why hide? Because peace is illegal now, the woman said. The council banned it after the fall. Now only strength speaks. Another woman added, but if you speak with us, the others will listen. David felt like the room was spinning. I'm just one man. You're not, Riva said. You're the only man. They gave him a device. A small silver ring. It clicked around his finger like it belonged there. Speak, said Rava, and all levels of the ship will hear you. David hesitated. Then he took a breath. The ring glowed. He spoke into the silence. My name is David Ross. I come from Earth. I didn't ask to be part of your war. I didn't come here to save your people. But now that I'm here, I won't be used. Not for blood, not for weapons, not for your future. If there's still a voice in your hearts that remembers peace, then listen now. You don't have to fight for me. You don't have to win me. You just have to stop. He let go of the ring. The light faded. Silence. Then a single alarm went off. Red light blinked over the ceiling, and a voice rang out. Cold. Familiar. Zynth. Raw. Double quotes. Rebellion is treason. Bring the mail to the council. Alive if possible. The door exploded inward. Smoke. Screams. A flash of metal. Zynth entered like a storm, her armor darker than before, her eyes glowing with fury. You broke the rules, she hissed. Now you'll pay the price. She charged forward, striking the rebels with cruel precision. One fell. Another tried to block her, but Zinthra crushed her weapon like paper. David tried to run, but Zinthra caught him by the arm. You don't get to speak, she growled. You don't get to choose. Then she stopped, because Rava was standing between them. Let him go, Rava said. Zinthra laughed. You were never strong enough. I don't need to be strong, Rava said. She touched the wall behind her. A blinding light filled the room. Zynth screamed. Then everything went black. When David opened his eyes, they were in a new chamber hidden deep in the ship's engine core. Safe. For now. He looked at Rava. What was that? Backup plan. She said, you're not the only one with secrets. He smiled barely, but above them, the ship rumbled. And in the distance, a council voice screamed. The final match begins now. The air was thin. The silence before the storm had returned. David stood at the edge of a massive chamber he hadn't seen before. The arena of judgment. This was no training floor, no test site. It was built for one reason only: final decisions. 1,000 glowing eyes watched from high platforms above. The entire ship had gathered. Not just warriors, council leaders, scholars, even the injured from previous tournaments. This was the end. He stood alone on a round platform of glass suspended over nothing. Below him, a pulsing blue void engine energy that kept the ship alive. The platform hovered in the middle of the chamber like a floating coin. Exposed on all sides, the council voice rang out, loud and absolute. This is the final match. By tradition and law, one shall remain. The chosen will claim the right. David didn't look up. He already knew who was coming. 2 platforms across from him slid open. Zinthra stepped out first, towering, armored, confident. Her face calm, but her hands flexed with controlled rage. She wasn't just ready to fight, she was ready to conquer. Then came Rava. She wore no armor. Only a simple robe marked with the faded crest of Vilhara. Her face was steady, eyes quiet, like someone already carrying the weight of what was to come. David felt something strange inside him. Not fear, not anger. Something heavier. Zinthra raised her weapon, twin blades of red light crackling in the air. She pointed one at David. When I win, he will be silent, she said. He will be mine, and the child will belong to the council. Rava did not raise a weapon. I do not fight to win him, she said. I fight to free him. The arena lights turned gold. The match had begun. Zinthra charged like lightning. David could barely track her movements. She struck fast, wild, her blades, leaving trails of light through the air. Rova dodged with grace, using no weapon, no power, only her steps, her silence, her mind. Zinthra screamed and swung harder. She wasn't just fighting Rava now, she was trying to erase everything Rava stood for. The council watched with cold interest. David watched with something else. Zy and Hra struck Rava across the shoulder. Blood bright and silver hit the floor. Rava stumbled. Yield, Zinthra hissed. You've lost, but Rava didn't fall. She stood up, one hand pressed to her wound, eyes locked on David. I don't need to win, she said, voice shaking. I just need him to choose. Zinthra raised her blades for the final blow, and then David stepped off his platform. Gasps echoed across the chamber as he walked onto the dueling floor. No armor, no weapons, just a man between two warriors bred for war. Zinthra's eyes widened. You are forbidden. I was never yours to forbid, David said. He turned to the council's floating screens. I refuse your match. Shock rippled through the chamber. Council voices overlapped, buzzing in confusion and anger. You cannot break tradition, one of them cried. I just did, David replied. Because your tradition turns people into tools. I'm not a weapon. I'm not a prize. I'm not here to save your war. He looked at Zinthra. You don't care about the child. You care about control. Then he turned to Rava. You cared enough to risk everything. You didn't fight for me. You fought for choice. Rova didn't speak. She just nodded, quietly. David raised a ring still on his finger, the same one they gave him days ago. It glowed again. Let this be the last match, he said. Not for victory, for freedom. Zinthra screamed and charged again. But this time, Rava moved first. She struck Zinthra's blade at the wrist, not with a weapon, but with her bare hand. There was a flash of light, a cracking sound. Zinthra's blade fell. She fell to her knees. It was over. The council said nothing. Then, for the first time in years, someone in the chamber clapped. Then another, and another. The sound grew, echoing off the walls, bouncing like thunder. Rava turned to David. So what now? She asked. David looked at the council, then at the crowd. I'm not sure, he said. But I think it's time to stop surviving and start living. The war drums never sounded again. After the final match, the ship changed. The lights, once red and sharp, turned soft. The air felt lighter. Even the silence felt different, no longer tense. Just quiet. David sat in the observation chamber, watching stars drift by. He hadn't spoken much since the match. He didn't need to. The crowd had spoken for him. And for the first time, they chose something new. No one forced him to stay. The council, now fractured, had no more orders. The rebellion had spread faster than they expected, small voices rising after his, each one louder than the last. Some still wanted control. Others simply walked away. But Rava stayed. She walked in now barefoot, no longer dressed like a warrior. Just a woman with scars, tired eyes, and calm steps. She sat beside him. He looked at her without speaking. She broke the silence first. You could have gone back to Earth by now. I could have, he said. Then why are you still here? David leaned back, arms crossed, gaze fixed on the stars. Because Earth doesn't need me. But this place might. Rava nodded slowly. It will take time. Healing always does. He smiled faintly. At least now no one's trying to kill each other over me. I wouldn't count on it, she said. Some of them still train like the old days. But now they get to choose why, David replied. She was quiet for a while. He turned toward her. Do you ever think about what could have happened if Zinthra won? Ruva looked down. Every night. She would have made the child into a weapon. She would have made you into one, Rava said. That's worse. They sat without Words for a moment. Then David stood. Come with me. She followed him through the hallways, no longer guarded, no longer dangerous. They passed young aliens training in the sparring rooms. But now there was laughter between them. No one bowed when David walked by. They nodded. Like equals, he led her to the nursery sector. It had been abandoned for years. Dust, old machines, cradles made of crystal and light. David touched one. It lit up, just slightly. Rava stepped closer. You're thinking about it. He nodded. Not for them, not for war, not for legacy. Just ... because I want to. And you would choose me? He didn't answer with words. He reached out and took her hand. It was enough. The days passed. Not long after, the ship left its path toward the war zone. It charted a new course toward an empty system with green planets and clear skies. They called it Alaris. It meant begin. Again, on the surface of the first moon, David stood under a real sky for the first time since his abduction. The wind touched his skin. Alien birds sang unfamiliar songs. But somehow it felt like home. Rava joined him there. She carried something in her hands. A small crystal, glowing faintly. Life, waiting. Are you ready? She asked. David looked out across the hills. Then at her. I think I've been ready since the night I saw that light in the sky. She placed the crystal in a soft patch of moss. The ground accepted it like soil accepts a seed. It pulsed gently. He sat beside her. What do we tell them when they ask? Tell them, Rava said, that we stopped a war by choosing peace. David smiled. And tell them their mother was the only one who didn't try to win. And their father, she added, was the first one brave enough to say no. They watched the stars move above them, a new world. A new future, not one they were given, one they made.